Welcome to part 4 of Seal Up the Book, Daniel, until it be the time. And we're going to get on back into this. This is Daniel 2 still. And breaking back into verse 44. And in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set upon a kingdom. And in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom, which God is doing now. He is setting up his kingdom, which shall never be destroyed. And it shall never be destroyed. And the kingdom shall not be left. And the kingdom, which is eternal divine kingdom, shall not be left to other people, but it shall break into pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. Forasmuch as you saw that the stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, and that it broke into pieces the iron and the brass, the clay, the silver, the gold, the great God has made known to the king what shall come to pass hereafter, and the dream is certain, and the interpretation thereof. The king Nebuchadnezzar, or Nebuchadnezzar, however you pronounce it, fell upon his face and worshipped Daniel, and commanded that they should offer an oblation, which is an offering and sweet odors, to him. The king answered to Daniel and said, Of a truth it is, that your God is a God of gods. Yes, he is. A Lord of kings, and a revealer of secrets, seeing you could reveal this secret. There's a reference there, and like I said, we are going to get into the book of Revelations. Then the king made Daniel a great man, and gave him many great gifts, and made him ruler over the whole province of Babylon, and chief of the governors over all the wise men of Babylon. Then Daniel requested of the king, and he set Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego over all the affairs of the province of Babylon. But Daniel sat in the gate of the king. That means in the court of the king. This is why Daniel was told to seal up the book, because it wouldn't be able to be understood until now, when these things are starting to come to pass. Not fully understood. And the enemy has worked hard to try to keep these things hidden. That's why evil men and seducers have waxed worse and worse, to try to keep the children of God's eyes closed so they wouldn't see the truth that the king is coming. Nebuchadnezzar, the king, made an image of gold. This is chapter 3. Whose height was 60 cubits, and the beard thereof 6 cubits. And he set it up in the plain of Dura, in the province of Babylon. He made a golden statue now. This is a graven image, just like Moses declared would be done. Then Nebi, the king, sent together the princes, the governors, and the captains, the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the provinces, to come to the dedication of the image. It was a golden statue, an idol. And he made them come to the dedication of the image which Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. Then the princes, the governors, and the captains, the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the province were gathered together to the dedication of the image, which is the idol, the statue, that Nebuchadnezzar, or Nebi, the king, had set up. They stood before the image that Nebi had set up. Then a herald cried aloud, "To you it is commanded, O people, nations, and languages." Now, why do you think it said that way? Languages. That at what time you hear the sound of the cornet, flute, oh my God, harp, sackbut, parcel, passillary, declaimer, and all kinds of music, you fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar, the king, has set up. Not unlike the country's flags these days, is it? Because when the music is played, y'all put your hand over your heart and you do the pledge and all that stuff to a flag, an image thereof, a nation. You worship the beast. Not God. You worship things of man, traditions of man. And this is not what God has told us to do. You allow these flags to bring division amongst you. And these leaders and rulers to keep bringing in their division amongst you when they're actually setting up a one world government. Think about that. A golden image that Nebi, the king, has set up. That's an idol. And whosoever fall not down and worship shall the same hour be cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Therefore at that time, when all the people heard the sound of the cornet, the flute, the harp, the sackbut, the psaltery, which is the lyre, and all kinds of music, all the people, the nations, and languages fell down and worshiped the golden image that Nebi, the king, had set up. The new king of Babylon, I suppose, is going to be doing this as well. Because the earth is now Babylon. And the one king that will be appointed, I suppose, will be doing similar things to this, right? Okay, getting back into this. Wherefore at that time certain Chaldeans came near and accused the Jews. They spoke and said to the king Nebuchadnezzar, O king, live forever. You, O king, have made a decree that every man that shall hear the sound of the cornet, the flute, the harp, the sackbut, the psaltery, and declaimer, and all the kinds of music shall fall down and worship the golden image. And whoso falls not down and worship that, he should be cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. There are certain Jews whom you have set over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men, O king, have not regarded you. They served not your gods, nor worshipped the golden image which you have set up. They did this out of jealousy. You know that, right? They were jealous of these three men. So, of course, they're going to tell on them and rat them out because they wanted rid of them. When God blesses someone that others don't want to be blessed, they get very jealous. They seek to steal it from them and do these things and to try to do harm one to another because of jealousy, instead of just seeking God for their own. It's a shame that people would be this way and that they would try to destroy one another instead of just loving one another and coming together, wanting each other to be blessed. But it is what it is. But it is a shame that it had to be this way. But God still prevails. We'll get on into this in the next part.